how's it going? Today we're going to talk about classifying and panning. So today, simple things that we're going to need. So you're going to need a classifier, you're going to need a pan, and you're going to need a shovel. Real simple process. Pretty much all we're going to be doing today is feeding material into the pan and taking our time panning it, and I'll explain to you the importance of panning and what you're wanting to do. So let's get some dirt in this and let's get started. Go ahead and cut it. And the gold out here is quite easy to get. I mean, it's pretty much right here on the surface. You can see where everybody's been working, plus like way back in the bushes. But pretty much, you can get your material in the pan just like that. Get to start cleaning it up. All right, let's get this on down here. And we're gonna kind of hold the pan in between our feet. And you're just gonna wash the rocks. Once they're nice and clean, you can go through, do your little bit of rock hounding if you're into that kind of stuff.
Hello?
Always make sure the more volume you move, the more gold you'll recover. I look at it like this. If the gold doesn't stay in the pan, it's not worth it. If you're collecting specks, how much does that weigh? If you're collecting bigger flakes, how much does that weigh? But today we're talking about the proper way to panning. Now there's multiple ways to pan. Everybody does it differently. So we've already classified with the classifier. So now we have material. As you can see, I still have rocks in here because I'm using a much bigger classifier. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little stratification. We get it down in here, and we're gonna do circular stratifications. I don't do the back and forth like everybody else does. I feel like gold gets shoved up against the walls, and then when you're panning it out, gold's coming out with it. So you're gonna circular motions, and I kind of tip the pan sideways a little bit when I'm doing it. It just depends on how full your pan is. But you stratify circular, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna keeping your hand right here and your hand right here. You're gonna get it at a slight angle, and you're just gonna dip. Okay, 3 times. I do a 3 count. You can see all the bigger rocks just came off. I mean, you still got some pebble in here, not much. So your heavy materials are still in the pan. Your lighter materials are coming out. Keeping the pan a little tilted, but not too much. And then you're gonna grab again. And you're gonna keep doing this until you get down to the last little bit of material in your pan. All right, so now I'm getting real close to the bottom here. As you can see, that's going pretty quickly. You're not having to spend your time. Gold is heavy. It's not going anywhere. As long as you stratify correctly. Your panning, I mean, it does make a difference, but your stratification is the key. We're gonna keep on stratifying now that it's got a little bit of material in here. It's not so heavy, I can do it one-handed. Now we're getting down to the bottom of it. Now the question is, how far do you go before it's too far? I like to go until you can see the tops of each riffle going up. Sometimes that's too far. It depends where you're at, what you're using, materials, black sand buildup. Some places there's so much black sand you won't even make it this far down. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab these little pebbles that are left on the top, get rid of them. I got a little bit left here. We're gonna call that good. As you can see how much material is in my pan. Not a lot. You want it all to sit right there. You don't want it in this, you don't want it on here. You want it right here, because when you're panning, your gold needs to have a place to fall or sit in the very back. Because if the black sand starts filling up the riffles, your gold's gonna coast right over the top of it and out your pan. Pull it back, slow, easy washes, okay? And when I do my washes, I like to shake it just a tad bit when I do it. So as it's coming back, I give it a small shake. So, all right, now, so this pan, we have a little bit of really small gold in here. We don't have flakes, but we will get those next. So I'm gonna show you on whether or not you know if you're doing panning correctly. Number 1, if you can get small little itty bitty pieces in your pan, you're doing a good job. Another way you can practice, if you're just trying to do it to better your gold mining skills, take some dirt home, get yourself a couple of fishing weights, drop your fishing weights in the pan, and just pan it out. If you can keep your fishing weights in the pan, you're doing good. Keep doing that until you're comfortable enough to where you can go out to a place like this. What's coming out of your pan is not your gold. So if you look right there, Got a nice piece of gold and a bunch of really small stuff all along the top right there. It's a good start for a day. It's nice and warm. Probably the hottest day of the year so far. And joining me today is my good friend Pony here. And the water seems to have gone down quite a bit. So, I mean, how you doing over there so far, Pony?
Oh, pretty good. Little flakes, little slivers, not much.
Little flakes and little slivers. We're gonna start calling you the gold sliver. We're gonna go ahead and do some panning, get some nice chunky little flakes in our stuff, and show you what kind of gold you can expect to get from a place like this.
It's not cornflakes.
Not cornflakes. Back and you suck it on up. Real easy method. If anybody has a hard time with black sand, get a magnet. Really important. Magnet will help you more than you even know. So I figured I'd get a small shot real quick of the area that we're working so you guys can kind of see the terrain, the materials, all that good stuff. So we're gonna walk around out here just for a second so you guys can kind of see what kind of work miners do. You can see you got plenty of piles of rocks. Let's see what's going on up here. This is obviously somebody's classifying spot. They're using this spot to classify, and they're dumping their throw-out material right here. This keeps it out of their way so they're not moving it a ton of times. What they're doing is they're classifying their material into a bucket, and then they're walking it down to the river over there, which is on the other side of those bushes. A little work spot here. Now we are not going to use this spot. We aren't getting in it. But this guy obviously came over here and found him a good little spot to dig right up against. And it seems like he's been getting some decent gold, because that's a lot of work for getting nothing if you're not. So I would assume they're definitely getting good gold out of here. Yeah, that's a hell of a hole right there. And we're gonna keep going. Yeah, you can see they made themselves a trail to get to the water right there. A lot of work carrying buckets of dirt, man, let me tell you. And this spot looks like it's probably been worked the hardest. So this is probably one of the better paying spots, or was. All right, so inspect your areas. Oh man, very sandy.